In 1987, off of the highest selling album of all time, or second highest selling, depending on who you're asking, Michael Jackson released Bad, a record that had huge expectations coming off of the monster that was Thriller. Now, Thriller had so many songs that got etched into the zeitgeist of the world, from Billie Jean to Beat It, Thriller, Want to Be Starting Something, Human Nature, and the list goes on. So Jackson had a tall task ahead of him. What to do for the follow up? And how do you make an album and a collection of songs that might be able to surpass what you did with your prior record? Or maybe you want to get as far away from it as possible so that the comparisons are not even there. Jackson, to me, kind of chose the latter. Bad is a record that, to me, to this day, is Jackson's most consistent record. And what I mean by that is, while I think that up to this point, Off the Wall had bangers on it and had really good songs, as a collection, there were some lulls. Thriller, for all of the controversy that I'm about to create by saying this, had some lulls, particularly in the beginning half of the record. Bad, to me, is a record that from beginning to end is very consistent. Jackson had a sound that he was looking for. He had a vibe that he was going for. And as primary songwriter for the majority of these songs, you can tell that there was a cohesive vision with this record. Everything from the production elements to the song choices themselves, there's a consistency with Bad that's sort of there with Off the Wall, sort of there with Thriller, but it is absolutely there with Bad. Bad has an overall sound, and that sound is more industrial. It's more synthesized. It's more precise. And some things that I'll talk about in this podcast is Jackson's choice of like foregoing typical drum sounds, for example, and using elements of like metal or like hammers banging against metal or stuff that just sounds industrial, sounds that sound like they don't belong. They are percussive, but they don't belong in a song per se, but they were used in a production aspect to bring out the veracity, if you will, of these songs that Jackson was creating. But in this episode of Song Minded with Amir Kostovan, I'm going to break down what I think is Jackson's most consistent record. Is it his best record? That's debatable. I think there are songs on here that are certifiably Michael Jackson classics. There are also songs on here that could be categorized as B-sides, if you will, when you put them alongside the rest of his catalog. But we'll break them down song by song. So if you're excited, drop a like on this video. Let me know what your favorite Michael Jackson song off of Bad is in the comment section down below. And if you are listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, thank you so much for doing so. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode of Song Minded as we break down songs and albums from the past and present from a music theory standpoint, from a music production standpoint, and from an overall just song education standpoint. So Bad starts with the title track. Bad is a song that is iconic. Weird Al Yankovic covered it in his Fat parody, right, as he did with Eat It from Thriller before. And Bad is a song that has a very signature sound, and it has that almost industrial sound, okay? There's no like typical drum sound in this song. I mean, you've got the hi-hat at the beginning, but the hi-hat is the driving force of the song. The lyrics are questionable. They are what they are. But one thing that I noticed off the bat with Bad, not only the song, but the record in general, and Michael did this with Dangerous as well. Not sure about History. I'll revisit that when we get to History. And spoiler alert, I'm going to be talking about every single mainstream Michael Jackson record moving forward. So I've already reviewed Off the Wall. I've already reviewed Thriller. If you want to listen to those, go back into the Song Minded podcast and you'll find them. But with Bad and Dangerous, but with Bad, he, for whatever reason, chose to bring his vocals lower in the mix. Now, I don't know if this was like an intentional thing so that when the chorus hits, so when it gets to the chorus of Bad, it hits that much more. But when he starts singing in the verse, you're almost like, what are you saying? Right? Like, the first words of Bad is your butt is mine. But it's so low in the mix. Like everything from the drums and the bass and stuff, they're higher up in the mix. But when he starts singing it, it's really kind of like almost, I don't want to say it's like weak. It's not. But it's not as like powerful as his voice was on Thriller, as his voice was on Off the Wall, where it was like bombastic and in your face and like right there. It's real Bad, specifically, like it's kind of lower, and this is consistent with the high energy songs of Bad, and I'll get to what I'm talking about in a second when we cover some of the more songs, some of the other songs. Bad is a song that I think everyone knows. It's the closing track of the Michael movie, and it's a great song. It's one of those that to me I think gets a little repetitive because it's just boom doom 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 doom. I mean that's pretty much it, except for the pre-chorus. Okay, I want to point that out. The pre-chorus is different. You've got those interesting chord structures that he's got in the pre-chorus, but then which is da 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 da, right? And so you go back to the doom 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 doom. Same point that I made on Thriller. Michael found a formula where like if he got like a great bass line, that was kind of like the nucleus of the song. So Bad's bass line is that iconic bass line, right? And as was Billie Jean and Thriller and Beat It and Want to Be Starting Something. Not so much Human Nature and those other songs, but at least for sure, like the hits, right? So he kind of followed that formula here with Bad. I love the vocal harmonies on this song, and I think overall it's a fun song. Listening to it again, specifically to review this, to make this video and to make this podcast, I like found myself not enjoying Bad as much as I have in the past. And I don't know if it was just like the subject matter to me is like kind of whatever, or like the song is fine. The synth solo, the synth keyboard solo in the middle is a lot of fun. Kind of in place of like, what Eddie Van Halen did for Beat It or anything like that. But like this solo is a lot of fun. I would imagine be a lot of fun to play as a piano player slash keyboardist. I've never tried it. Maybe I will one time. But you got that organ sample that's like super dirty that goes into Michael's final pre-chorus going into the chorus, the last chorus there. We transition into The Way You Make Me Feel, right? We've kind of got like this swing kind of dance song. And again, we've got a bass line that's just very iconic. And I love this song. And this is one of the songs where Michael's voice is a little bit higher in the mix, right? Because he's singing first off high up. In Bad, he's like really low register when it's like your butt is mine. Like it's almost very low for him. The Way You Make Me Feel starts with hey babe, like he's way up in the mix, right? He's way up in his register. And he's almost like yelling at, at the protagonist of this song. But I love this song. I love the chord structure of the song, and the chorus is super infectious. I love the vocal melodies as well, the vocal harmonies. So when he sings the way you make me feel, and then you got the way you make me feel, you really turn me on, you really turn me on, you knock me off of my feet now, baby, right? Very intentional. Michael does the same thing, the way you make me feel, the way you make me feel, you really turn me on. You really turn me on. He could have easily, for the third time, just been like da 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 da. Instead, he goes da 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 da. Right, and what that does is, as a listener, first time listening to the song, it throws you off because you've now heard twice of the da 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 da. You've heard that twice. And so you're expecting it a third time and maybe a fourth time. But by switching it the third time to da 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 da, like that makes you go, oh, that's different. I want to hear that again. But you only hear it that one time. So when he gets to the chorus again, now you're looking forward to it. You know it's the first two are going to be the regular, the way you make me feel. And then the third time is you knock me off of my feet. And so when you when you get to that point, now you're like looking forward to it, right? Big vamp on the song at the end where Michael just goes, "Ain't nobody's business, ain't nobody's business but mine and my babe." I love that. I love that. I love the bass line. Again, the industrial sounds like do 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 da boom da ba da dum da ba. Like the snare sound of this is like a combination of a regular snare sound and then like a hammer hitting like a big metal sheet. Boom, boom, ah, da, dum, da, ah, da, dum, da, ah. It's like he very intentionally wanted to go harder on bad, and like maybe that was the point, and hence like the album graphic, the album cover with him in the buckle jacket with the spray painted bat on and stuff. Like maybe the intent was to present an edgier sound. I'm not sure. If you do, let me know. But that's what comes across. We transition into Speed Demon, which I grew a new appreciation for this song when I was younger, and I watched Michael Jackson's Moonwalker so much that I wore the VHS tape so that it wouldn't really play anymore. The music video for Speed Demon is a claymation video where Michael's, well, it starts off with Michael in a car and he's racing a bunny or something like that. I forgot. But like there's this whole claymation thing that I thought is awesome. This is a song that my daughter loves. It's a super, super fun track. I introduced it to her. And then again, you have an iconic one measure or two measure bass line. Again, signature of Jackson's, where he kind of like does the same thing over and over again. But yes, it changes in the chorus. And oh, dude, the chorus. We'll get to the chorus in a second. Jackson's vocals, again, low in the mix here, right? You're almost kind of struggling to be like, what's he saying? What's he saying? But then you get to the chorus, Speed Demon, and I love the bass. I can't even mouth it, let alone play it. And granted, it's synth bass, but it's still super, super fun. Speed Demon. I mean, that's so sick, right? I remember hearing that for the first time and just being like, okay, that's awesome. I didn't know any better. I thought someone was like actually like playing it. Maybe someone is, but it sounds like keyboard bass. It sounds like synth bass. Super, super cool chorus. I have a gripe with this song though. And the gripe is that I can't stand the bridge. I can't stand it. Everything drops. It's just like bass, synth, and like the drums drop for some reason. The drums are just hitting like kick, snare, and Michael's got this super high register like Speed Demon, you're the very same one, dun, 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 dun. And he takes this breath in the middle that seems like he just ran out of breath and didn't want to like go back and fix it so that he can like sing it all in one line. I really don't like that part. But I do like the guitar, the short guitar solo of the da 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 with the car revving sound effects in the background, and then you've got the synth solo immediately after that going into the final chorus. So it's a fun track. I cannot stand that bridge, but overall exciting track and like a ton of energy, which takes us into Liberian Girl. And like Liberian Girl, I think is like one of Jackson's best like romantic songs ever made. Like this track is so good. It's so well written. And his voice sounds impeccable in this song. And his voice is perfect in the mix. Nice and loud and present and clear and pristine. And the production for 1987 still sounds phenomenal in 2026. Specifically this track. This track doesn't sound dated to me. Like Bad sounds a little dated. Speed Demon sounds dated. Liberian Girl doesn't sound dated. Liberian Girl sounds present. And I love specifically when he sings the first chorus, he ends it kind of on a soft note instead of what he does at the end where he kind of goes up on this higher register for the Liberian Girl part. He goes, I love you, Liberian Girl. Like he kind of does that where he goes back down versus the second time is I love you, Liberian Girl. And then you got this big vocal chorus thing going on here, stacks and stacks and stacks of vocals, and absolutely gorgeous. What a song. Cannot talk about this song enough. I love Liberian Girl. Liberian Girl is absolutely, absolutely, absolutely amazing. Just Good Friends is a song that, to be quite frank with you, I completely forgot existed until I listened to the album again to do this episode of this podcast. Completely forgot. And full disclosure, I had the record of Bad. So I've listened to this song probably many times in my youth. Completely forgot about it and completely forgot that Michael did a duet with Stevie Wonder of all people. And to be honest, first time I heard it, I was like, that's all right. I heard it again. It's a fun song. It's one of those like screams late 80s, screams like this is just a fun track for us to put on here to kind of, hey, it's a duet with Stevie Wonder. Like why the hell not, right? Production elements aside, you've got some industrial stuff that's going on in there. And Stevie's verse is pretty cool. Hearing Michael and Stevie together on the song is awesome in itself. But to me, this is still a weak point of the record. It's a song that I don't did Michael ever perform the song live? I'm not sure. It's one of those where like it's a forgettable B-side, and he had a long list of singles that came from this record, 9, in fact, out of 11. And this is one of the songs that didn't become a single. So go figure. Not one that I remember fondly. That's the end of side A of Bad. Side B, when you flip the record or switch the tape, the first song is Another Part of Me. This is a fun song. This is one of those where like, I grew to appreciate this song after seeing Captain EO. Like I had heard the song, and in doing research, Another Part of Me came out in Captain EO before it became a part of Bad, and Michael retooled it for Bad. Um, but this is a fun song. You've got those keyboard synths, right? You've got that. One of those songs that doesn't necessarily rely on a bass line per se, but it relies on that rhythmic melodic chord structure that's going on over there with the keys. Again, Michael's voice a little lower in the mix than I'd like it to be, but I love his vocal performance on this, and especially I'm a big fan of this chorus. Big fan. And this is my message to you, message to you. I love that. And then like you go from that to the next chord, right? So you know what I have? I have a guitar in front of me, and so I'm going to show you all what I'm talking about. Da ba da da, B flat, da 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 da, D minor, ba ba da da, B flat, da 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 da, E flat, da 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 da, da 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 da. That's on A. Love it. Okay, so you're basically doing something where, for all my music theory nerds out there, let's say we're starting on D minor. This is your root, okay? Usually if you were to go from here to here, you would hit C major because that's just part of the scale. But instead, we're going to C minor. We're adding the E flat in there, and then we're going B flat to A. That changes, again, from the listener's perspective, what you're expecting to hear. When you're hearing bum ba da da bum ba bum ba da bum ba ba da ba da ba da, and then when you make that switch down to C minor as opposed to C major, now your ears kind of perk up because that's not what you're used to hearing in that scale. Another part of me and it's a great way to start side B, which takes us to arguably a top 10 Michael Jackson track, and that is Man in the Mirror. One of only 2 songs that Jackson did not write on this record. But whoa. if you were to like, be like, you have to pick a song from Bad, right? Like if you had to pick a song from Off the Wall, for me it would probably be like Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, or maybe even Off the Wall itself. If I had to pick a song from Thriller, it's probably Want to Be Starting Something. Like the one song that I like can't live without from that record. From Bad, it's Man in the Mirror. This is easily the best song on the album. It is so well written, and I'll tell you why I think it's so perfectly written. First off, Michael's vocal performance is excellent. Vocal mix is perfect, exactly where it needs to be. The synth bells at the beginning, the production, when the drums kick in, when the bass kicks in, all of it is chef's kiss. All of it's perfect. And then when we get to the first chorus, that I'm staring at the man in the mirror, I'm asking him to change his way, right? And then, but when you get to the, and you want to make the world a better place, the chord changes in a way where, again, it's not, you're not expecting that chord to happen in this scale. Okay. The first time the chorus finishes and the drums kick in, Michael does like one of his woos, and then you hear na 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 na. I mean, it's goosebumps. It's it's goosebumps. Okay. Now we do the second verse, which is rare that a second verse can be as good as the first. This one is as good as the first from a lyrical standpoint and from just a whole thing. Whew. God, I love this song. Okay. We get to the chorus and they repeat the chorus like 4 or 5 times. Second time around, which is weird. You would think that there's like a bridge and then you get to the third chorus where like that's where they kind of embellish. They embellish the second time and they embellish it for a very specific reason. They embellish it for the second time. The chorus repeats 4 or 5 times. There's a key change in the second chorus, which again, not typical. It usually happens the third time, but there really isn't a third time here. There's just the second time, the elongated second chorus. And then they do that key change. And immediately after that key change, if you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. You gotta get it right. Da, 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 da. It stops. Michael goes, da, 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 you're mine. And then it kicks back in. That's not even the part that I'm talking about. That part is sick, but that's not even the part I'm talking about. Michael does that man. The chorus goes, oh yeah, like all of that's happening. Change his way. Na, 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 na. We want to make the world a better place and take a look at yourself and then make that change. And oh, dude, right here. Michael does like 3 woos in a row. He goes, woo. I can't even do it. I'm sorry. But Michael does like 3 woos in a row. And the second time in the song, you hear, na 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 na. You have gone through so much at this point as a listener in this second chorus where they beat you in the head with this chorus like 6 times, I want to say, okay? Like 4 or 5, 6 times, maybe one of those. They stop, they start, they go back into the chorus. They do all of these things. Michael's going off and he's doing his woos and all that stuff. And then you hear the na 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 part, and it's just like euphoric. You're like, oh my God, I made it. It's like you've been riding this roller coaster ride and you got to the end. This is the last turn of the roller coaster ride, and your heart is happy because you're like, I survived. I survived the drops and the loop de loops and the inverted roll, whatever. I survived all of it. And then they have this elongated outro where the song ends not on the root, but on the fourth. It never goes back to the root. So now we're at the end of G. And it stays on this C major for the rest of the song. It doesn't change. It doesn't go back to the root. It stays on C for like a minute and a half. And it works. This is why this is why I geek out over music stuff, because things like this happen. People write songs like this, and then I feel like I have to like explain it for the world, because I'm like, you don't understand what they're doing and how it shouldn't work, but it works. They're literally on one chord the entire time for the rest of the song, and it's awesome. Trees. From there we get into I Just Can't Stop Loving You, which I think is also an amazing ballad. A great duet that Michael sings, and I think it's such a gorgeous song, and it's got such a beautiful chorus. And I especially love, like, again, from a production standpoint, from a music songwriting standpoint, little things like, and if I stop, then tell me, just that. Little tiny things. There's no reason it could have been like, and if I stop, then tell me just what, but just because they add those 2 little hits, now you've got something, again, as a listener, you're looking forward to. So when you go to the choruses of like, I just can't stop loving you. I just can't stop loving you. And if I stop, then tell me just what will I do? Like that. And happens throughout the song, right? So you kind of anticipate it, you wait for it. The verses are beautiful. The woman's performance, Seda Garrett, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Her performance is absolutely incredible, and it's a beautiful song. There's two love songs on this record that are both great. Liberian Girl and I Just Can't Stop Loving You are amazing. Like the some of the best songs on the record, where I felt like on Off the Wall and Thriller, they were more kind of filler tracks, but on Bad, they are two of the standouts on this record. We get into Dirty Diana. Michael going back to the rock roots of Beat It. And what a song. What a performance. What a chorus. Just a ridiculous song that I think has stood the test of time. It's shocking to me that this is track 9 of the record. Like, from a track listing standpoint, like Michael was like, no, we're gonna wait. Like, you're gonna wait for this one. Because when it hits, man, dude, that chorus. All right. You got Steve Stevens on guitar, I believe, playing on this, of Billy Idol fame. And you kind of have the one thing about Dirty Diana. I'm gonna nitpick. Just please allow me this for 1 second. But in Beat It, the guitar solo, you have the guitar solo from Eddie Van Halen, but then you also have like you have that very specifically. In Dirty Diana, you kind of have Diana, like it's very similar to the guitar lick of Beat It. Not the solo. The solo is completely different, but that lick, that one lick, very similar. But man, oh, especially the bridge where the guitar solo is kind of going crazy, the drums are banging, the guitar's wailing, Michael's doing his high vocals, blah blah blah, whatever, and then they like just cut it all off and they go right back to. I mean, perfect. It's perfection. Michael's choice of adding audience sound effects, like an arena or a stadium's cheer sound effects in the song, is an interesting one. I do think it adds to the song. I think it's strange that it's in there, but I do think it adds to the song. But that takes us to Smooth Criminal. This to me is like what Beat It and Billie Jean are as far as like iconic Michael Jackson songs. Smooth Criminal to me, it belongs in that category. I would argue more so than Bad. Smooth Criminal, first off, again, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, right, was a highlight of that movie. The whole thing with the mobster suit thing, the hat, the dance moves, everything. And of course, Smooth Criminal has such an amazing, you guessed it, bass line. Like, again, you write those super catchy 1 measure, 2 measure bass lines, and you can write a whole song around them. Jackson did, and had great success doing it. And so you have Smooth Criminal, which from a lyrical standpoint is pretty cool, right? It's a dope song. Alien Ant Farm, side note, I think did a really good job with their cover. I think they played homage to this song very, very well, and did an excellent job with it, and revitalized the song, if you will, in the early 2000s, right? But going back to Jackson's version on Bad, this is such a great song. You've got that great pre-chorus that's so iconic. Annie, are you okay? Like, if you were to like rank Jackson's lyrical things that he's known for, okay, like what are some of the things that Jackson's saying that like he's like super known for? I'd argue Smooth Criminal is like top 3 as far as lines. Like, Annie, are you okay is like probably like top 3 Jackson lines ever written, because everyone's like, first off, who the hell is Annie? What and why is she not okay? What the hell happened to her? Right? But that aside, you get the incredible chorus, okay, with all the vocal harmonies on top of one another. The bass line and the chord progression is so dope, because you're just going like, it's such a great beat, such a great chord progression, so simple but yet so effective. And then you get to the bridge. I love this bridge so much. I adore this bridge so much for multiple reasons. First, you kind of have this weird, like, again, industrial synthy kind of sound effect that's kind of happening in the background. There's really no music happening. There's music, there's drums and percussion happening, but from a chord musicality standpoint, nothing's really happening. You hear this this voiceover. All right, I want everyone to run right now. Whatever, what might be a police officer in the background, whatever. You hear that, and then you hear Michael say "ow," like he makes that sound effect, and then you hear the guitar. Goosebumps. You hear the guitar go. I mean, it's so sick. It's so sick. It's so sick. It's so sick. And even though in the music video they didn't do this dance move at this time, moving forward, performing it live, and I've seen the Michael Jackson Cirque du Soleil show. They do it at this point too. The infamous lean that is in A Smooth Criminal, which I would argue, next to the moonwalk, is Jackson's second most popular dance move of all time. Okay? I'd argue. And that lean happens right there. Again, not in the music video. The music video, it happens when he starts singing the final chorus. And here, okay, it starts there. But to me, it's way more effective, especially when he did it live and they do it in the Cirque du Soleil show, when they do it there, because he says "ow" and there's like this, the spotlight is on him, boom, and you just see him and all of his the dancers around him doing that lean, and it's so sick. It's so sick. I love Smooth Criminal so much. So good, so good, so good, so good. Okay, so we get to the last track of the record, which, fun fact, I did not have forever, because I don't know if they just ran out of space or it was an exclusive for the CD or something like that. Leave Me Alone is the final track on Bad. And I didn't know this song existed until I watched the Moonwalker movie, because I had the vinyl of Bad and it's not on the vinyl of Bad. The vinyl of Bad starts with Bad and it ends with Smooth Criminal. Smooth Criminal is the last song on the record, not Leave Me Alone. Leave Me Alone was a CD exclusive when I was growing up. I didn't have the CD player, so I didn't have this track. So I didn't even know it existed until I saw Moonwalker. And I'm like, what song is this? Full music video and everything of Michael Jackson singing "Leave Me Alone." It sounds very similar to The Way You Make Me Feel. It's got the same kind of vibe. It's got the same kind of bass line. It's got the same drums. It's got the same tempo. It's got the same everything. They're interchangeable as far as rhythm and structure. But I love this song. "Leave Me Alone" is such a great song. Fantastic performance by Michael. I mean, he's just like on it with this song. Like, he's just got this energy and he's almost angry and whatever. And he sings that chorus like his life depends on it. And he's just like, "Leave me alone." Fantastic, fantastic song. It's so good. I love that he sings along with the bridge synth solo. So the bridge synth solo goes ba 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 da ba 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 da ba da ba da da da, and Michael sings along with it. He just chooses to be like, screw it, I'm gonna like scat along to this. The pre-chorus is infectious. It's so good. And I love Michael's performance of this. "Leave Me Alone" is such an amazing song. And it's such a great way to end what I think is Michael Jackson's most consistent record. Of the 11 songs that are on Bad, I think one track, unfortunately the duet with Stevie Wonder, is okay. I think the rest of these tracks, from Bad to The Way You Make Me Feel, Speed Demon, Liberian Girl, Another Part of Me, Man in the Mirror, Dirty Diana, what am I missing? Oh, I Just Can't Stop Loving You, Smooth Criminal, Leave Me Alone. Excellent. Excellent. They're all bangers. They're all really, really, really good songs. And so to me, I know the argument is like blasphemy to say that Bad is better than Thriller or Bad is better than Off the Wall, because there's a lot of controversy with Bad, because this was really the change of Michael's appearance from a physical standpoint, going from Thriller to Bad, and there was some backlash there. But I think from a legacy standpoint, granted, his legacy was cemented after Thriller. There's no question about that. But to follow up the highest or second highest, again, depending on who you're asking, record of all time, let's just say for argument's sake, the highest selling record of all time, okay? To follow up the highest selling record of all time with a record like Bad is quite the freaking achievement, my friends. Michael Jackson's Bad sold over 35 million copies globally. However, according to Google, it is historically discussed as a disappointment because it failed to top the massive 70 million plus sales of Thriller. It was never going to top Thriller. No album has since. Spoiler alert, but no album has since. If you don't want to include the Eagles' greatest hits, Definitely no album has come even close, has even sniffed Thriller as far as physical sales, as far as anything like that goes. Okay, I know we're in the age of streaming now and things are a little different, which I'm not counting that. I'm counting physical sales. But to follow up a record that sold 70 million plus with a record that sells 35 to 40 million plus is still an achievement, folks. It's not a disappointment. Not at all. Not in the slightest. And it's weird to me that it was looked upon as a disappointment. This record is not. This record is, again, is it his best record? That's debatable. But is it his most consistent? I would argue so. Thank you for checking out this episode of the Song Minded podcast with me. I hope you enjoyed my deep dive into Michael Jackson's Bad. Dangerous is up next. I'm excited to talk about that one. And in the meantime, if you haven't already, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and like and subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate that. And if you're following along on social media or on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, I hope you subscribe and check out more episodes in the future. Thanks for watching. Take care.